Welcome to the Emotional Support Siblings podcast, where we run to get healthy as opposed to running from our emotions. I'm Luke, and this is my emotional support sister, Sarah.
Yeah, I like it. We were just chatting about getting on a healthy train and signing up for some 5Ks, but today's episode is about being addicted to uncertainty, which basically explains why I can ignore 47 texts and I completely panic when someone just texts me, "Hey, we need to talk."
Oh yeah, yeah. That's literally the best example you could probably give because I do the same shit. Somebody, I don't know. The most important texts of whatever business, finance, whatever. It's like it's all good, and then if they leave it up in the air of like make me wonder, I'm like, oh, here we go. If we're
Girl.
Yep, yeah. Justine will text me and say I'm about to call you, and until she calls me, I'm just like, oh my god, like the world's ending right now.
Listen, every time I think about it, this is a shout out for anybody who got super into Jersey Shore like I did in college. So Sam and Ronnie would go out and they would just be like drunk fools and they would call themselves the Spiral Squad. And that is who I feel like we are, spiral in emotions and insanity.
Spiral Squad, gang
Yeah,
gang.
and we should get t-shirts.
Yeah, we should. There's our 5K
Yeah,
outfits.
I was just
Yep.
gonna say, yeah, now we can match in our running outfits. Spiral Squad. Jeez. All right. Well, yeah. So this is us being addicted to uncertainty. Um yeah. I feel like in my life I struggle immensely with this one. I still struggle. This is one that I bring to my therapist regularly. And her famous line every time I talk to her is she's like, "Sarah, you've presented me with two really great options. Neither one of them is the wrong option." And I'm like, I need someone to tell me what to do.
Yep. No, I feel the same way with it's weird talking about this because I I learned in the last like 4.5 years or so that like I think we even talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago about like getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that ties in directly with this the uncertainty. I still struggle with it immensely. I feel like a lot of mine revolves around whether because I'm self-employed, whether business is coming in or um, other people in general. Like you, for example, if if I miss your call and then I try calling you back and you don't answer, like my heart just is just like, what's wrong? I need to know. Is she okay? What's going on? And it's not just you. Like it's Justine, it's Dad or Josh or whoever. Like people that I stay in contact with. Like I feel this pressure of like I need to answer to make sure like things are okay.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's something you get from mom. I feel like she was like that. Ooh.
Yeah, yeah, you're probably right. I think too because yeah, you're probably right. And I feel like on the flip side of that, like I was always the one where she needed to make sure I was okay. So it's kind of weird and different being on the flip side of that, where I'm like making sure others around me are okay, like giving a shit about people. It's weird, but um, but yeah, I notice it that's when that comes up the most for me for sure.
Phone calls.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, it's mostly in like big life decisions. I try and make the most calculated move that I can possibly make. And I struggle deeply because I look at it and I'll write pros and cons lists and they'll be like exactly even, or like the things that I'm trading off are like, they're different trade offs, but, they're basically, there's not a wrong answer.
Yeah.
And I feel like anytime that there's like uncertainty about a position, like a potential for a new job, or um, just I I don't, I think about like going back to school, there's not necessarily like a downside, but it's also like more student debt and taking out loans and like where, financially, is this going to benefit me in the long run? Where is it going to put me? What's my goal? And so like different things like that. I try and weigh out every single option. And I don't know. I remember in a lot of my therapy sessions, my therapist will just be like, "You take a lot on your shoulders." And she always asks me the same thing. She's like, "Don't you think that's kind of hard to tell yourself that you can control? Because essentially, this is what it comes down to, what you can and can't control, right?
Right.
Like, isn't that a lot to take on your shoulders?" Like, she's like, "Don't you think like maybe that's God's job, not yours?" And I'm like,
Mm.
"Probably."
Yeah. Yeah. No, the that's funny. I just made a comment to Justine earlier about control because we were talking about we went on a walk and I don't know, the sun was shining in Lucy's face and she was like trying to get in the way and put a shadow on her because I mean it is hot, but like we were out there for like 5 minutes, dude. Like she needs some sun. But I made a comment about control. I was like, in my experience, everything always goes better when I give up that control, when I give it to
Mhm.
God. There was a point in recovery where somebody very close to me told me it was after a relapse. He was like, maybe you should just not choose what to do and rely on somebody else that you respect to choose what you should do. I was like, at the time, I took it like an FU, but I was like, maybe you're probably right because my decision making right now is not at the best, and it wasn't. But when I give up control to God, is usually what I mean by this. Um, Everything becomes simpler. It's just so hard getting to that.
Mhm.
Like we play God in our own lives until it comes down to like time of like make the choice, make the decision, make the jump, and then I'm like stuck, starstruck. Then I'm like, okay, God, I'm here. Like it's like one of those foxhole prayers, like help me out.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I feel like when I'm connected, mind, body, spirit, when I feel good, like there is no question in it. You know, I'm not calculated like you are. I'm not. I think of something and I'm just like, oh yeah, that sounds fucking great. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I unfortunately, I cling to like the illusion of control. I shouldn't say control. I think a lot of us, especially as like women and moms, that's what we do. Especially like as my kids grow, I see some of my friends that are a little bit more like I don't know. I don't like the term like helicopter parents, but like I'm pretty hands off. Like if we go to the park with the girls or whatever, I want them to be able to trust their bodies and know like I've climbed too high on this and I'm gonna back down. But like for the most part, I let them be that, judge. I don't want to be in the background telling them like, I don't know if you should do that because I don't want that to impede on their like confidence like later in life.
Yeah,
Because I think that that becomes your inner voice, right? You know? Because a lot of times I have to like I'll say the words out loud to myself. Like I'll do things like question things in my life and I'll be like, is that my voice? You know?
yeah,
And yeah, that's one thing that I've also learned is a lot of times that, those inner voices that we have, they aren't us. They're learned from outside people who have forced their opinions and have become this, red alert in our brain.
yep,
And so I try really hard because I don't want to be like that to my kids. I want them to be able to know, my mom is here if I need her, but right now I know what I'm doing and I can pay attention to what I'm doing.
yeah. No, I love that, and that's kind of that's not kind of that's exactly how I feel about. And I'll know more. I mean, Lucy's 3 weeks old. I'll know more later down the road, but I that's how I wish to be. That's how I hope to be. That was some of the best parenting advice one of my good friends, Jason, told me. He was like, if I can tell you anything, is let them learn. Don't,
Mhm.
you know, and what he meant by that is exactly what we're talking about is like, if, if they are trying to learn to tie their shoes and they're taking too long and you tie it for them, they're going to count on you to continue to tie it for them.
Mhm.
Let them learn. Give them the time and the space to learn. Let them fall. Don't tell them. Obviously, don't let them jump off a freaking roof. But like, if they're, you know what I mean. Like, let them make their mistakes because that's how they're gonna learn. And um, I mean, that's how I learn. You know what I mean? I feel like I, to some degree, was overprotected and over sheltered, and I only learned when I stepped outside of that and had my fall downs and my mess ups and my mistakes. Until those things happened, I was always counting on mom and dad and grandma and grandpa to get me out of trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's a big mindset mentality difference is like for me, I've been so hyper independent for as long as I can remember that like even when I moved out and I was like living paycheck to paycheck, I was eating hot dogs on white bread, with off-brand ketchup on a good night.
Catch down.
No ketchup or no ketchup at all. I mean, I was just one of those people like I don't I'm gonna say it and I'm not gonna like it, but I think I was too proud to ask for help. I didn't want to be the one that came to help. I knew that there were people that would help me, but I mean, I remember explicitly most of our family has gone to people with money in our family and asked for help. Um, and that's like one of those things that I was like, nope, it'll be a cold day in hell before I ask for anything from anybody. I will figure out a way to do it on my own. And you know, I did. And that's like some of the things like I have cards that mom have had written me in the past, that says things on there that says like it's okay to need other people, but like when you've kind of built me to be this person for the first 25 years of my life, yeah, I feel like hyper independence, control over everything that I can control became who I was. So now trying to get to a place where I'm like trying to release that, it is very hard for me.
Yeah,
And knowing that like I got to a point with everything, um, that I finally my control, my illusion finally crumbled. And I think that at the time I was so pissed. I was pissed at everybody. I was pissed at God, especially. Like, how could you do this to me? You know? Um, but I think that for me was the biggest turning point in my life. And one of the best things that ever happened to me was the illusion finally crumbled. That I finally saw that, like, you cannot control everything in your life. You can mitigate risk, in my eyes. I really, like, I struggle with people who, you know, I mean, something bad happens to them. Like, you can't help when accidents happen, right? But how upset can you get when you've lived unhealthy for 60 years or smoked cigarettes or had no physical exercise and drank pop every day and had high sugar snacks and like you just didn't do anything to mitigate the risk? And then you're like, well, this came out of left field. But like, there are things I think to mitigate your risk for a lot of those things. But again, you also have the handful of people that I've taken care of in hospice that have like looked at me and been like, I never smoked a cigarette a day in my life. They're dying of COPD. It's crazy. I mean, it
yeah,
happens.
it is.
But that's the illusion of control. In my brain, I'm like, if I do everything right, I'm like, bitch, if you do everything right, like you're still not guaranteed anything.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I think I it's cool how you said that, how you worded that too. How like it was such like a like groundbreaking aha moment in your life, like a huge turning point in your life um, where it benefited you to give up that quote unquote control.
Mhm.
Um, because I mean that you and I were just talking on the phone recently, and I think we were talking about in terms of like addiction and alcoholism and everything. Like it's not so much that the drug or the alcohol is the disease, right? It's like it's the obsession. And my obsession, tricked me into believing that I had any sort of control over my addiction, in which I did not. And it showed for years. I mean, it showed for years. I would tell myself at 9 a.m. I'm not getting high today. 10 a.m. I'm on my way to go get high today. But I believed it at 9 a.m. I meant that. I meant it every single time. And it was finally when I was like, my word doesn't match my actions, and how do I get those things to match? And it was by giving it up, essentially exactly what you just said. It's giving up that control. It's giving up that thought that I have any sort of say so in how this goes, when it comes to addiction. Because
Well,
I
yeah, I
could,
think that
no, go
no, I
ahead.
was going to say that when we were on the phone talking about it, because it's something that you and I, even addiction, of drugs and alcohol aside, right?
Right.
We still have these battles. Like currently, we're having this issue, or I know I'm having this issue of like now that I've brought all of these amazing foods back into my life, I've now gotten to a point where sugar is back in and involved, and carbs, which I didn't have for a really long period of times. Like I was strictly pretty much, this is not an exaggeration, for months I literally only ate like beef and cabbage, like for a long time. And like the very first thing I remember, I got diagnosed with a heart block, because I had lost so much weight so rapidly that my body, like my heart rate at any given moment was like 42 beats a minute. And I finally went to the doctor and they were like, "Yeah, you've got a first degree heart block." And it was that day that I was like, this disease, I refuse to fucking let it kill me. Like, I am not going to allow it. That first day, I took a grain of rice, one grain, and I put it and mixed it in my beef and cabbage. And then every day I would sprinkle a couple more. And then I finally got to a helping of rice. And um, that's kind of like what transitioned me back on like a path, is like having my body have some form of like energy finally, because it was running on complete fumes. There was nothing left in the tank. And so now that I have all of these options, I'm like, I'm looking around, like, not only, like, I don't eat like the processed food and junk like that, but when I go to the grocery store, like, I understand. I get why people have such a hard time walking away, because I'm looking around like, you don't just get to choose one Little Debbie snack. You've got a donut counter. You've got
Yeah.
50 kinds of Little Debbies. If you don't like peanut butter, here's powdered sugar. You don't like, you don't like this, you got chocolate. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. No wonder people struggle, because the amount of choices that you get every day, mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Insane. And this is me dealing with literally just fresh fruit, maple syrup is my sweetener, uh, as like my sweetener of choice. And now I'm like, "Oh, I can just dab a little in my oatmeal, and then I can add it to, you know, my tea, and now it's sweet tea. You know what I mean? And now I'm like, I have oat flour and maple sugar, or coconut sugar and maple syrup, and I'll make cookies. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet and so luxurious, because I haven't had anything in so long. And so now I'm battling that again.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I get it. You just made me think of what was it, Super Troopers, where they chug the syrup at the beginning?
Yeah, that's exactly how I am. Like, I could sit there and
Yes.
do that. I was gonna do it on camera, but then I was like, if somebody watches this, they would take this and it would not look right.
Right. It would have been a
I know
funny
I put
clip.
my hand up here and I went to like turn my head. I was like, don't
Uh,
come me, Sarah.
See, that's how you know you're calculated, because I would have went for it.
We both know that exact scene, and I feel like if we put it side by side here on maybe a clip in the next week, people will be like, "Yeah, I'm glad she didn't do that."
Oh shit. But no, I get it. Actually, just today, I just put out finally, because I've been talking to you about it for weeks now, about me making like this health journey in the second half of the year goals and all this stuff. But I finally put the video out today of um for the accountability aspect, more than anything, and because I want to show people that, like, because I'm not knock on wood, I'm not trying to jinx myself, but like when you really put your mind to something that you really want and you want to do it, you could do it. It's easier said than done, of course, and that's what I hope to show through this journey. But essentially, I've been talking for weeks, months that I'm gonna start running again. I'm gonna stop vaping again. I'm gonna start eating healthy. And I threw my vape out yesterday. It's been over 24 hours since I've hit my vape. I'm still reaching for it probably every 10 seconds. It's just such a habit.
Hmm.
Went to the grocery store today. It was the first time in so long that like our cart was just full of like Whole Foods. It's just like, vegetables, fruit, meat that we're gonna cook at home. I mean, we got steaks and chicken. I think we got like 8 pounds of chicken breast for meal preps and these home cooked meals that we're making. And we've been eating DiGiorno. We've been eating out all the time. Just the amount of Dairy Queen blizzards that we've had in the last 6, 9 months since basically she's been pregnant has been crazy. But the point of this is I've been trying to work towards this, and just like what we were talking about the other day, like I'm an all or nothing person. If I didn't throw those vapes away and I just set it here and told myself I'm not going to hit it, I'm going to hit that
Mm.
shit 100%. If I go to the
Yep.
store and I buy a bunch of those little Debbie's because they're buy one get two free, all these different choices, if I bring those home, I'm going to eat them 100%. If we go to
Yeah.
Dairy Queen, I am not getting a salad from Dairy Queen. I guarantee it. You
Well,
know?
that's the thing is like I also am the kind of person that like I want to be able to make the things that I like and eat just one of them. But I struggle with that. Like I'll eat until I make myself sick. My body will physically tell me because one of the other things, like one of the symptoms that I've noticed now is that like if I do have too much sugar, my heart is just like thun, 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 thun. I mean like pounding out of my chest. Like telling me like you have done too much and now we don't know what to do with all of this. Like so I don't like the way that that feels because it almost feels like how I used to feel when I would drink like coffee or caffeine.
Yeah.
It would give me like anxiety or the sense that like, oh my gosh, I have to move right now, to work this energy off. And so, um, like you just said, I posted a video as well this week of talking about like I got up the other day and I did not want to go work out. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't like it was just a really lazy Saturday morning and it was I only left because Jonathan ended up not golfing because there was rain moving in, but it wasn't until later in the morning he's like, "Hey, that rain moved. If you want to go, go for your walk or your run." He's like, "I'm going to be here." And I was like, "Oh, well, he didn't get to golf, so I should go and walk." And that is what we're talking about today is that if you I really think that it is the power of the mind, but if you wait for that perfect moment in any kind of uncertainty for you to just feel like you want to work out every single day, I don't. I do not. Some days I wake up and I'm like, let's get it today.
Right.
It's not every day though, but those are how like those healthy habits are formed, right?
Yeah. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline is forever. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of the best, my favorite all time lines. I mean, it's so true because like if I sat here and relied on motivation for me to uh, get up in the morning, take a shower, go on a run, walk, like that shit is fleeting. It's not every day. It's not consistent. What's consistent is the discipline. Is on the days that I don't want to do it, on the days that I'm tired and I'm home and it's been a long day, and the dishes are piled up because I haven't been doing them. It's I do it because it needs to be done. And I need to treat
Mm-hmm.
my body that way. I need to treat my mind that way. I need to treat my spirituality, my relationships that way. Of course, everybody needs a break, but um, again, just like I was just saying, like I'm the all or nothing type of person. Like my breaks go for 10 months until I'm the heaviest I've ever weighed and I'm regretting it. So for me, like I have to instill that discipline um, and do it on the days where I don't want to. I think has been one of the most powerful things in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, that's a good quote. But also I feel like a lot of us, I mean, when I think back to our childhood and things like, or just most of us, I think growing up, like discipline wasn't necessarily a big factor. I think that we grew up in an age of instant gratification. And the things that I think about when it comes to things that are worth working for, uh, there wasn't necessarily anything growing up that I was like focused on, I have to work really hard to accomplish this thing.
Right.
Uh, because again, we lived in a day and age of, in my eyes, instant gratification. I think, computers became really big. I think that, in my personal opinion, I think like the access to like pornography, for men in very in particular, in my mindset, I think that unfortunately that is why like a lot of relationships become very tumultuous, is because of that. Um, and it's very unfortunate that we can't step away from things like that too, you know, that addiction.
Sure. No, um, I completely agree. I don't, I think it's weird because like, there's always going to be the next addiction. And like, and I hate to say that like in such a negative light, but it's the truth. I mean, we live here in the United States, and we are a consumer of a country. This is what we do. I mean, we went from going to the grocery store. Then Walmart was open 24/7. You can go there anytime. And then you could order them online and still go pick them up. And now you can order them online and they'll deliver them to you. Now you can order something off Amazon and it's at your doorstep within 24 hours.
Yeah.
I mean,
And in some places within two. Like
yeah,
if you live in like New York City or in like high traffic areas in California, within 2 hours.
yep. Yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
majority of our stuff gets here quickly just because we're close to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the majority of the things that we order, it's no longer than 24 hours for the most part.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's the occasional weird stuff, but yeah, I mean, it's just crazy, and that's the way it is.
You mean the
Everything.
stuff from China?
Oh yeah, yeah, from Chinatown. Um, but yeah, I don't. I think so. Like, if it's not one thing, it's going to be another. I mean, social media has been uh, the premise of social media. Like, I think we talked about this on another episode. It seems like it could be such a good thing, but I feel like there's so much more negative uh, attributed to it. Like, I don't. I mean, there's so much. Like, it's hard. I remember when I was, especially for like kids in school. When I was a kid in school, like to if somebody like said something negative about me, it was on MySpace and that like that was a big deal. I mean, now there's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all this shit where like anything you do, like the whole world's gonna see it, and you're embarrassed. You know what I mean? And
I
I
don't
don't.
think so. I think that people don't get embarrassed when they should anymore.
Yeah,
I watch
yeah,
videos where I'm like, I would never. Crazy. I mean, and there is, but that's the thing is like because people would never, and then now you idolize people who act a certain way, which is so bizarre because like if I saw certain things in public, I'm like, man, that person needs punched
yep,
in the face.
yeah. I know. And what's
But
crazy
now
too is
people act crazy and you idolize them. And so they're like, I'm going to keep acting crazier because their views keep going up and their likes keep going up and their, you know,
yep, yeah, it pays to be a jackass now, and it's
yeah.
crazy to say that, but it's true. Yeah, I don't know, but the whole point of what I started out by saying is just like how addicting everything's becoming. So like, uh, you started with porn. Like there's porn, there's shopping, there's gambling. Gambling has become so much more easily
Mm.
accessible. How far the porn industry has gone, like with the OnlyFans and uh, what's it called? Oh, there's like now the AI is like such a big thing. Like they're making like AI girls. Like it's crazy as shit. But there's
Yeah.
always gonna be more. So like because I think America, I know some states made a huge push for like porn to be like you couldn't look it up, like, or you had to show your ID, which most people that watch porn,
Texas.
yeah, yeah, um,
I only know that because every so often I'll watch like an episode of Kill Tony, and then I was like, "You have to show your ID," and John's like,
yeah,
"Yeah." I was like, "That's nuts."
it's crazy. But so like that, but you see these big pushes and stuff, but there's always going to be somewhere else. There's always going to be another website that comes up, or there's always going to be another option, or
Hmm.
whatever.
It's like
Because
the double-edged sword, right? We live in the land of the free, but also how much I'm gonna say this, but not literally. Like, how much freedom do you really need? Do you need the kind of freedom that like allows you to consume the things that you're consuming to poison your brain the way like because I don't, and again, like I think it's so unfortunate because people don't realize how screwed up their their brain and their organs are becoming either.
yeah, well, I think too. I mean, everybody kind of has their own, you know, experience with life and with everything that we're talking about right now, and um, there's some people that never get out of it, never see past it, whatever that might be, drugs, alcohol, shopping, gambling, porn, whatever it is. And then there's some people that talk about it and discuss it like us and try to make changes. But I think when it comes to like a democracy, freedom, quote unquote, I mean it's never gonna work. It's gonna, you know what I mean? People are gonna be like, oh, 1984, Big Brother, I mean, look what China's doing. They have like, what is it, a social credit score or something? Did you hear about that? Where like they literally
Mm-mm.
have, yeah. So like don't quote me on this. I'm not quite sure how it works, but you should look it up. It's literally called like a social credit score. And
I'm writing it down.
yeah, please. And I think it's in China where basically like people get like a credit score based on like things that they post. I don't know if it's gotten as far as like if they go to parties like and hangouts and get-togethers, like are they engaging or are they isolating, like a legitimate like social credit score. It's crazy.
I thought that was
Like
a movie.
no, it's a real fucking thing. And
That's nuts.
um I mean, we don't see TikTok videos made in China. I don't
Hmm.
know if you ever noticed that. Like they will not allow the rest of the world to view them. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I don't keep up to date too highly in the politic grand scheme of things because I got to a point where I was like, is it affecting my everyday life?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just
Right.
trying to do the best that I can do with what I've got. But I also think, unfortunately, we do live in a day and age where there are so many things that we could put in place for improvements, and we don't. I'm actually in a class right now, that talks about like what they call like the social determinants of health, which is anything outside of your control. And so basically, my research right now is all about like in my area in Ohio. And the social determinants of health is like right now, I'm researching like adult obesity in Ohio. And where the percentage in Ohio, I think, was like at like 41%, but in the Akron area, it jumps to like 56%. And then when you talk about like the social, determinants, like because we have higher, uh, uh, like a lower median income, we have like less access to like grocery stores, like fresh foods. Like obviously you live in an area where it's convenience. People don't have transportation to get to where they need to be or to buy fresh groceries or to do these things. So I mean, like I also think that like there's a big social aspect to it. Like, are you putting things in place for a community to be successful? You know what I mean? So it's on an individual basis, I do think a lot of us can make personal choices, but at the same time, a lot of people don't get the choice because they're never provided the opportunity to be able to get those things. You know, like if they don't have access to a car to get them to a Whole Foods, what do you expect them to do? And if they don't have, a regular schedule, they gotta, they're sleeping during the day and working nights, like how do you expect them to meal prep? Like there's so many different factors that play into the accessibility to be able to make those kinds of changes. And, then obviously it goes into like health literacy and education and what you do know and understand and what you're applying yourself to know more. So I mean, there's so many other factors outside of just like you should get up and take a run today. Do you have a safe area to run? Do you have a rec center? Is it affordable? Can you get there? Like there are, there's just a lot more to consider, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I could see that. And I'm sure uh I think it's difficult for me from to like take that perspective on it. And I'm not saying like it's as easy as just waking up one day in the wrong area with no nowhere close for um Whole Foods or a gym or all these things. I'm not saying like you just wake up one day and like, okay, well I'm leaving because I need to go there. But it's more of like if you want those things, you find a way to make it work. Um, Not to say like it shouldn't be more accessible and all these things, but um, at this point, I'm not. I don't know. It's weird. It's a double edged sword. I just feel like I think like government and city governments and all these things should be like trying harder to put those things into practice. But I also think like the people put these people into positions of power and vote for them, and the things that they put them into power over is like not that anymore. And I think that's what's sad to me. It's not because of this guy said he's gonna do this for the city of Akron. I feel like LeBron James did more for the city of Akron than mayors. And I mean, I'm not very political either, but I just I feel like for me, I left there because all I knew was drugs and alcohol. And I know it's not that simple. I know that I had a lot of help and support because my crazy wife wanted to do it with me. Um, but I went somewhere where I had the things that I want, you know?
Yeah. I just think that like overall, I also come across like videos. I can't remember. I posted something on TikTok not too long ago and um I scrolled for a minute, tried to engage a little bit, and then there was a guy that just had like empty milk jugs like filled with water and like literally tied on like a big stick. And he was just doing reps.
Yep.
And it was like the caption was something along the lines of like, "This is your reminder that you don't need a gym." And I was like, I guess you could be out here getting it some way somehow, body weight exercises, you know what I mean? But I think there is a little bit more to like the food aspect in my opinion because,
Sure.
you know, s- talking about it on like this scale, you have to like look at it from, especially like prevalently like black neighborhoods. They are highly like marginalized in their opportunities. Like they are they put way more fast food, convenience stores, cheaper options for them to like, take on instead of, putting a bunch of grocery stores that have like fresh quality produce for like, less money and SNAP programs and different options like that. Like, how are we expanding them for them to be able to have access to different things? And I think that that's like a much bigger issue than just, finding a way to exercise, I guess.
Yeah. No, I could see that. And um, yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe I just never really like looked at it that way because I
I
don't
didn't
know.
have to until this class. And now it's just on the forefront of my
Yeah.
brain because I have to like it's sending me all of these websites and like I have to like learn all of these stats and like basically compare and contrast them to like the national level compared to like the state level compared to like a direct like larger city community where, obviously where I live is too small town, but like, distance wise it was like Cincinnati, Columbus, Akron or Cleveland. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't like I said, I mean, it was kind of eye-opening to me just to kind of see those different facets of it, but
Yeah.
the more you
I
know.
I think the market also always follows trends in the sense of like if I mean America's are like there's a lot of America that's already been like on this uh fitness get healthy kind of momentum for a while now. And like since this has started, I mean like you can't go into any city and not see three Planet Fitnesses and multiple gym and yoga studios and all this stuff. Whereas maybe 10, 15 years ago, like that was not the case. Um,
Well, we didn't know any better 10 or 15 years ago, I think,
well, and
you
that's what I'm
know.
saying is like I feel like the the world kind of catches up with the trend. So like fitness centers are there if food became that much more important to where I mean and it already kind of has. I mean a lot of fast food places even though they're convenience and considered fast food, I mean they have shaped up their menu to some degree to have some sort of healthy options. Um,
Yeah, but we just talked about it. You ain't going to Dairy Queen to get a salad, my guy.
no, because I'm an
Then it all
alcoholic, but
comes
there
back to
are normal people. There are normal people that could go and make that choice. I just can't.
again, I think that's a little bit of like the benefit that I have with the mass cell because choices were taken away. I didn't get the option to be able to go to Dairy Queen and choose, whether or not I could or could not have, a dessert. So like when I go out, people are gonna listen to this and be like, "That's so sad." Like I go out, I take my kids out for ice cream, and my kids all the time, like Madeline will ask me because she's old enough now that she gets it and she'll watch me like introduce certain foods and like she gets really excited now, which is awesome because like there are days that we can snack on things together. She's like, "Mom, I'm so excited you're eating apples." And I'm like, "Yeah, girl, me too." And so we'll go and she'll be eating her ice cream cone and she'll be like, "Are you close to ice cream?" And I'm like, "I don't think that's one I'm ever going to be able to have again, babe." You know what I mean?
Mm, yeah,
Um, and so, I'm trying to teach her that I'm still finding my ways. Like I bought a Ninja Creamy and I make like coconut ice cream, you know? Is it the same? No. Do I wish that I could have a DQ Blizzard? Most days, but some days I'm like, it's not so bad not being able to have the option. Kind of having it taken away from you puts me in a little bit better of a position to just kind of be like, is it really worth it to have it anyways? Not really.
true, true. No, I think that's um, yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. I think, but I also think too, a lot of people don't have that perspective. I didn't for a long time. On and there's still days like with like I'll think about getting high or drinking and like oh I wish I didn't ruin my life if I drank a beer. Um, and
Same. I wish I wouldn't die if I got to have a blizzard.
yeah, but I think it's the awareness aspect of it, and I think um, just like with me with the vape and stuff, like I know it's bad for me,
Mhm.
and I know that eventually it's going to take its toll on me if it still is already, um, but like you said at the beginning, how bad can you feel for somebody that has this awareness and continues to do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, I hate it. I wish that more people. I think that's why I get so excited about it, like when people ask me questions, because I'm like, I don't think that I would have ever had this opportunity to learn and gain the knowledge that I feel like I have everything, if the opportunity wouldn't have presented itself the way that it had for me.
yeah,
So,
well, and I
yeah.
think a lot of another thing too about somebody in your position, and this is what I mean about the I if you told me you had this and had all this awareness, and then you were like, yeah, once we're done with this podcast, I'm going to get a DQ Blizzard, but it's gonna make me sick to my stomach and maybe hospitalize me or whatever, but you still choose to do it, then I'm like, all right, well, you're a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? But it's the
Yeah.
same thing with me with vaping and with people with drug addiction and getting in trouble and all these things. So I think it's advantageous to you because you make it advantageous. Where
I-
most people would look at this like oh, pity me, poor me, this sucks. I'm just gonna go and do it anyway, and screw what that doctor said, or you know what I mean.
That might
Um,
have played to my favor though, because a lot of times that like the more that I'm learning. So for example, with my mass cell. there were foods. I was already on a very limited diet already because I was having these like random reactions for years, never putting the like not one of my doctors ever told me that there could be a potential for another diagnosis or something else going on or anything. But for me, it just got to the point that I was like, if this is going to cause this reaction, I'm just going to eliminate it. Eliminate it. So I was already on this like super limited diet. But what I've learned is that that basically puts my body in fight or flight mode all the time around food. So now every single food feels like it's triggering to me and is going to set me off because I'm so afraid to consume something that may or may not set me off. So now I've had to flip the switch and go back to this place of courage that and going back to our main topic is like living in uncertainty. And for me, I did not want to live in uncertainty, so I eliminated any risk factor that I could find. If I started to have a reaction to bacon, eliminated. Wine, eliminated. Avocado, eliminated. Banana, eliminated. Just stopped eating all of these different kinds of foods, never putting the pieces together that it was something else. And now I've had to go back to this place. Like I used to eat fish one or two times a week and sushi all the time. And now I have not had fish for 10 years, but I've had to go back to this place of uncertainty, not knowing if I'm going to have a reaction, but training my body into safety because that's what we ultimately search, no matter what you're choosing, right? Is safety. Going to this place of like, okay, I eat a dime sized piece day one. The next day, a quarter sized piece. The next day, I go up. So, like, every single day, I'm training my body like, this is a food that we can have and it's okay and we are safe. And I'm terrified every single time that I try a new food. I'm so scared. But I have to tell myself, like, I can't, if I don't teach myself to be brave and be courageous, then I'm going to live
Break it
on
up.
five foods forever. And who wants to live like that? You know? So again, like we all search for safety. And for me, I've had to teach myself the uncertainty of food doesn't make it unsafe. Am I scared every time that I reintroduce a new food? For the most part, yeah. But I have to tell myself, like, just because it's not something that you've had in a while doesn't mean that you can't ever have it. And, like, again, I haven't eaten salmon in 10 years because I had an allergic reaction to shellfish, never even salmon. But in my brain, I was like, they both come from the sea. I can't have anything. So, like, getting back to a point, like, I just reintroduced, like, salmon and whitefish, like, cod into my diet in the past 2 weeks, which has been something I never thought I would get back, you know?
Yeah, that's all. That's huge. That's awesome.
Yeah, but again, like, it's trying to move out of that uncertainty where we always, as a people, we seek safety. And when you network your brain that something is a risk, you step away from it. I don't know a lot of people that are like, that's risky. Let's do that. You know what I mean? Like most people who think that in their brain, they try to avoid it naturally or unnaturally, cognitively. And what's the other word? Knowing
So
that you're doing it or unconsciously. Oh,
subconsciously, yeah.
unconsciously, we're not like, avoiding risk.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's
Ugh.
how they do it. Is they just knock themselves unconscious and they're avoiding whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
So
I don't even have to deal with it. I'm just gonna be asleep now.
I feel like um, I have more of a fear of missing out on things. Like I want to try new things because like I feel like during the time of like addiction, I didn't try anything new. And that goes for foods, that goes for experiences, that goes for all these like I want to go skydiving. I like the risk to me on a lot of things that most people would look at and be like, oh, that's crazy, and why would you want to do that or whatever. But like I find those things like exhilarating, appealing, and I might hate it. I think we talked about me going camping. I've tried camping 4 times, not for me. I hate it, but I have this fear of like I want to try everything once. If I was able to go everywhere and try everything one time, I would do it. But yours comes from a place of your health, you know. So it's just hard for me to like get in that kind of state of mind, I
Well,
guess.
I think mine stems deeper than health too. For me, I know that almost everything that I'm afraid of, it's because I correlate it with death and dying. And for me, somewhere along the line, cough, cough, our mom decided to like make me so afraid of dying that like that's my biggest fear in the world is to teach my kids to be afraid of death, which is a natural process of life. You know what I mean? Like I became obsessed with death and terrified of death at such a young age. At 6 years old, I mean, I had my first grade teacher writing letters home, concerned about how hyper focused I became on this idea. And I was so terrified. And it's people are like, oh, but you have faith and you know where you're going. And I'm like, yeah, well, death still scares me, and I still have questions because no one has come back from the dead. I mean, except for the good Lord Jesus, and talked to me to my face and said, this is what happens. Like, it's still a very scary concept for me, and I have a really hard time with that. And I think anything that I equate with death and dying, I'm instantly like, I like for example, again, trauma. Our mom hates flying, has instilled it in my brain how terrifying and how terrible and awful flying is. And so when I fly, I get anxiety because I think about those memories being told to me as a kid. Like, and I, again, like, I don't even think that I don't like flying. I think it was just instilled in me that, like, if the plane goes down, you're gonna die. And instead of me just being like, well, what if everything's fine and I land in Bali and I have a great time? Like, you know what I mean? I have
Yeah.
a really hard time separating the idea of flying separate from death.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's again another ideal that I just have never really had to really take like a look at. But I think even when like I was uncertain in regards to death, like I was never really necessarily like fearful of it. But
Lucky.
yeah,
I will lay in bed and as soon as I try and go to sleep if I think about death and dying. Oh man, it's way better now than it used to be. I used to have full-blown panic attacks. But
hmm, yeah, no, not, not. I don't know. I've talked to like dad, and sometimes like he'll talk to me about like death, almost like he's like welcoming it, and like it's not
mhm.
a cry for his help, you know. But I just mean like I never thought of it like that. Like it's more like a neutral thing, like you said, in simplistic ways of trying to teach your children that it's inevitable. It's kind of just the way I've looked at it. I think too, like we didn't deal with a whole lot of like family death growing up,
Mhm.
you know.
But
So
I
like,
think the best thing that I ever heard about death was like there's a scene in Harry Potter in the Deathly Hallows where they're talking about death and like the invisibility cloak, and when he takes off the invisibility cloak and meets death and welcomes him like an old friend. And I equate that to this woman. I'll never forget her working in hospice, that she was 82 and of sound mind, and she was very sweet. And I remember going into her room and she was just crying one day, and her telling me as like a 22-year-old baby nurse, like looking at me and just being like, I just wish that God would take me home. Like I've done
hmm,
everything that I could do here. I've raised my babies. I've known my grandchildren. I've met my there's nothing left for me here. Like that is what I pray for. Is that there is a day that I am at the end of my life that I ask God like just take me home. I've done my job. And I think that's what's hard for me is because I still feel like there's so much life to live that I want to get to a point like you said. I dad, he's like I've raised my kids, like you guys are all functional adults. Like I think that he feels like he fulfilled his role in some aspect. I mean, I tell him all the time, I'm like, I'm thankful you're here. you know?
Yeah.
You're nothing but helpful to me and my brain and my kids, and I hope that he stays around for another, 20. But
Hell yeah, me too. Yeah, no, and I mean, again, I feel the same way. Of course, like, I think it's human nature to survive and want to live and so on and so forth. But, like, I don't know. I think another thing, too, is, like, I've gambled with it with the drugs that I've done and everything. So, um, I know that that's not something I want to continue to do. But, like, if I, if I left here today and with how far I've come in the last 4.5 years, like that's something to be proud of. For me, like if I passed away, I mean, not that of course I'm not wanting that or welcoming that or anything. I just had a daughter. I want to be here till I'm 100 for her and for my wife. Um, but like if it, like it, that's another one of those things. It's out of my control. It's I think
Mhm.
fate as fate will have it. It's um, God's timing is perfect timing, whatever that is, whether it's today, tomorrow, or 60 years from now.
Yep.
But
Yeah, you're right. That's a lot of it, releasing that control and remembering I ain't got an ounce of it, even though I like to think sometimes that I do.
right, absolutely.
Uh, all right. Well, this kind of was all over the map today.
Yeah,
I think I think we hit all things uncertain.
yep. Communism, politics. We hit death, dying, God. We talked a little bit about control, which was supposed to be the main topic, and um, and I had like a mental mind fuck for like a minute and a half that I'm gonna edit out. So
Best practice though. Yeah, back next week. We're gonna
what
talk about
I was gonna say, hit us with what we're talking about.
yeah. Who are we without the trauma? Who could say this is who I am?
Mm,
But yeah, figuring it out into adulthood. We're gonna talk about what we tried that stuck and didn't stick.
stuck, didn't stick.
It did not
Stacked
stick. The things that stuck and sticked and did not stick and stuck.
or stack. I
Right.
want steak.
Oh, me too.
Hell yeah. Well, on that note, follow us on the socials. We eat steak. So TikTok, Instagram, emotional support siblings. Follow us, holler at us, say what's up, dude. What's up, dude? And then our podcast is delivered upon YouTube and Spotify. Come and
Take
join
your
us.
pick.
Come and listen. Our Gmail is emotional support sibs, not siblings, SIBS, at gmail.com. Message us directly. We would love to hear from you. And grateful for my emotional support sister here.
Me
She's the
too.
bee's knees.
Heck
So,
yeah. Another week in the books. And if you're feeling spunky, tell us what you want to hear us talk about or ramble on about and spiral about. Spiral Squad out.
Spiral Squad out.